What's up, people? Glad to be on the show today. So listen, we have a great show lined up today. We have the DSA reuniting for a roundtable. What is that shit? I apologize, guys. That was my fault. Listen, guys, let's get these introductions started so that I don't keep rambling on about some bullshit. So listen, we got the master of introductions himself, Micro Mike. What up, though, Micro Mike?
What's going on, fellas? And I am ready for another round table with the fellas, and we have a good one for you tonight. So let's get this thing cracking.
Yes, sir. Next to him, we have the impenetrable man himself, Andrew. What's going on, Andrew?
I knew that was gonna stick the first time you said it. I might as well just change my name, you know what I'm saying? But what up, everybody?
All right. Next up, we have the master of field review, Luke G. What up, though, Luke G?
Hey, man, salute, man. Hey, get ready for a good one. It's a lot going on, a lot of craziness. I know y'all got good questions getting ready to toss it out there. But before you do anything at all, hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to this channel if you have not. I don't know what's wrong with you. And make sure you subscribe to the Lions on the Prowl, a.k.a. my man, Jim.
Yeah, and speaking of Jim, he is the master of smooth voices himself. Jim, what up, though?
Not much, man. I'm looking forward to it tonight. We're going to have a great show tonight, and I'm just looking forward to it. It's awesome, man.
Yes, sir. It's always good to be on the round table with the fellow DSA members. So without further ado, please hit that like button, and we are going to get started. All right, so for the first question today, okay, guys, this is what I have for you. So the Lions, they must decide by May 3rd whether or not they are going to pick up Jarrad Davis's fifth-year option. So this is going to cost around $9.5 to $10 million. So I'm going to start off with you, Micro Mike. Would you pick up his fifth-year option, let him go, or re-sign him?
Before I get into that, let me pick up and say what up, though, to Chris Cashbaugh, Kyle Webb, Ab, Jimmy 23, Rich Law, Brandon Kenny, Mr. Cool and Cornbread. Damn, that's a great name. D-Map Zoom, Ramon the New Age, D. Williams, Rich Law, William Same, I think Sam's. What the hell? Funky Nuts. What up, though, Mandolo Dynamite, and Jeff M. Linder. And Martel Melton. Y'all coming in, man. Make sure to hit that like button. I've seen 16 likes. Let's get 20 because we have 20 up in there. When it comes to Jarrad Davis, now this is very interesting here. I think we should pick up the option because I think the option of not having a linebacker right now it was a detriment to the team. At this point, what are you going to do? Just have Christian Jones in there and just have it Tavai? You need to have someone in there, throw him on the edge, see what he can do, put Tavai in the middle, utilize him for what we can use him for. Let's put him in a position to succeed. Give him one more chance in this defense. One more chance. There's a great chance we get Isaiah Simmons, and it's going to open him up. It's going to open the defense up. I understand we might have to bite the bullet when it comes to the finances, but not having him in there, you're going to get less talent with individuals that may not know the defense quite well, and we need to start strong. I understand it's a little bit of money, but we have no other choice.
All right, those are good points made. All right, we're going to swing over to my partner in crime. Andrew, what do you think? Jarrad Davis, we have to pick up his fifth-year option by May 3rd if we choose to do so. It'll cost around $9.5 to $10 million. Would you do it?
This has been the most annoying person to deal with. Jarrad Davis is so talented, but the dude's football IQ is not there. I would only do a fifth-year option with him if he were to convert to an outside linebacker, or if he changed positions and we worked him kind of as like a D-end 3-4 hybrid linebacker, so that we're limiting what he has to do on the field. I mean, the guy is strong, he's athletic, he's quick, but he's not smart in coverage or playing middle of the field. So the only way I'm picking up that option is if we limit what he does or send him outside or on the line, because he is an excellent pass rusher. But when he has to play the whole field and cover tight ends, running backs, slot receivers. He gets destroyed every single time. So unless we change something, I don't want to pick up that 5th-year option.
Okay, all right. Seems like you and Mike are, both teetering on the edge of wanting to do it. You could see the talent there, but you're not completely sold. Luke G, what is your take? We must pick up his 5th, I mean 3rd, if we choose to do so, of course, and it'll cost around $9.5 to $10 million. Would you do it?
I mean, it's a no-brainer for me. Absolutely. I don't think his football IQ is low at all. I think that too many times that we see the product on the field and we assume that it has to be the player. Sometimes it's just the coach. I mean, we had the same arguments for Calvin Noy. His football IQ is low. He can't. Yeah, but he goes over there with Bill Belichick. His football IQ is now off the roof. he's making Pro Bowls and winning Super Bowls, and so I think what you're seeing is a player out of position. To me, the Lions don't really have a choice but to pick it up. You cannot not pick it up. And if they fail to do so, they're failing this team. What are you going to do? What is he, like 25? You're going to let a 25-year-old linebacker walk in free agency? Nah, they got to pick that up. And if they don't pick it up, it's something wrong with this pitcher. They absolutely have to show up and say, you know what, this is too good of an opportunity. Give him another year. I agree with Andrew. He has to go to outside linebacker, but you got to pick up that 5th year. You just have to.
Luke, I'm going to push back on you because now you're just confusing me. You're saying, yes, he has a high football IQ, but then you're saying, yes, he needs to be pushed over to the outside. Why does he need to be pushed over to the outside if you think that his football IQ is wrong? Or is fine?
Because one of the things about him is if you take a person, you put him out of position, it'd be the equivalent to taking a fish out of water. I can't ask a fish to swim on land. I can certainly ask a fish to swim in water. To me, he can play linebacker. I think he can play inside linebacker, even if it's a 4-3. I think he's better served as an outside linebacker in this because that gives Jelani Tavada a chance to be the starting middle, and it frees him up to just cover a smaller area of the field and just rush to quarterback. But if you don't give him that opportunity and you tell him, hey, we're going to put you on land, fish, I want you to swim, chances is you're not going to see it. So that's why I say bump him to the outside.
The problem with that is coaches are smart. There's a reason why they're the coach, and they realize what his strengths and weaknesses are, and they emphasize that all the time, that we want to put people in positions to utilize their strengths. And clearly something is wrong with this picture because they're putting him in situations where he's getting put on a pedestal and he's not showing up. So something needs to change, and I'm all for change. I don't like to be complacent because that's how your team holds on to players that are not productive. And if he's not fitting your system, you either need to get a player that does, or you need to change something with that player.
Let me ask you this. What was Jarrad Davis doing before Patricia?
He was missing tackles just like he is now, man.
Yeah,
listen. We know
he did well when our D line played great. But any linebacker plays well when your D line.
But he was playing well.
Stop the run.
He was playing well with. Sorry to interrupt, but he was playing well with Patricia as well when Snacks Harrison was playing well and our D line was playing well. I think. Okay. But sorry, go ahead, Luke.
No, I would just say okay. But my reason for asking that question is to say this: if you look at the player, all right, look at the player before Patricia. Okay, look at the player before Patricia. Yes, he was missing tackles. He came in on a rookie year. He was missing tackles, fine. But he still was performing to a level where you felt comfortable. The reason is you took him from a 4-3 and put him in a 3-4 and said, hey, you're the inside linebacker. Inside linebacker in a 3-4 is totally different than a 4-3. When I play linebacker, I excel in a 4-3. In a 3-4, I would be a rush outside linebacker. Because in the middle, in a 3-4, I didn't have it. I just didn't have it. That's what's going on with Jarrad Davis. Right now, he's a fish out of water. All you have to do is put him in the position to do it and succeed. These are a lot of the same things that we said about people like Calvin Noy, and not even Calvin Noy. I remember there was talks about God, what is his name? Jesus. It'll come to me in a minute. It was another linebacker, but it'll come to me. that we had took a long time ago, and everybody like get rid of him, and then he go over there and he perform. It's just one of them things where, oh, I'm sorry, DeAndre Levy. Everybody was ready to toss DeAndre Levy out the door. They were trying to toss him out the door, and then he performed. And I'm like, give a man a chance, put him in a position to succeed, and that's what happened. He took off.
I am a huge, massive DeAndre Levy fan. I hope that Jarrad Davis one day becomes the next DeAndre Levy for our team. But Jim, we did not forget about you. Lions must decide by May 3rd whether or not they want to pick up Jarrad Davis's fifth-year option. It'll cost us around $9.5 to $10 million. If you were the GM, would you do it?
Oh, yeah. I would do it. And the thing I've been saying for a while now is we just can't keep getting rid of talent. And yeah, I know he's had his problems, and I'm not as big a supporter either, to be honest. But who do you replace him with at this point?
Talk to him now. Talk to him now.
This is what we keep doing. We keep getting rid of talent, and then we keep getting people that are not even as good as the person we got rid of. And the team keeps going down in athleticism and different things that we need for this team. I've been saying it for a long time now that we got to stop doing that. We need to start shoring up a position and moving on to the next position and shoring that up instead of just getting rid of people.
You know what, Jim?
Mm-hmm.
I love you, man.
Okay. Man, I'm getting creeped out, man. I don't know why.
I just want to.
I thought he was about to roast you personally.
No.
I did too. I was like, oh, Jim's about to be murdered right now.
No. Listen, he's right though. We keep on shipping people out at the first sign. And I'm like, you got to understand that people could be out of position. People could be. One of the reasons that Richard Sherman didn't want to come here is because he knew that this system didn't suit him as good as it would have been for him to go to the 49ers. And so to me, if we're going to build an identity, you need to be able to take the pieces that you have and make it work.
I mean, my thing is that Davis has had like 4 seasons to kind of, show us that he's improving, show us that he's learning the game, show us that he can adapt to the system or just anything in general. And he's messed up so many times. And I'm not just talking about, D-line didn't do their job, Davis got, burnt. Or, Christian Jones wasn't moving and covering, Davis got burnt. It's like man-to-man coverage where he's just getting obliterated, or he's missing easy tackles where it's not just completely open field tackles. Like, the guy has a lot of flaws in his game. So I personally would rather not pick him up and go and get a more proven linebacker that we can plug into our system, or someone that's actually producing, or, just something different, because what we have now with him is not effective. And I did say, I wouldn't mind moving him outside or putting him on defensive end because the dude can definitely rush. But as far as linebacker, he's not the answer.
How many players do we have on? How many players do we have that we get rid of that turn out to be decent players for other teams? There was a few people that were on San Francisco in the Super Bowl.
Anthony Zettel, keep going.
Anthony Zettel, the guard that we gave up on. Mm-hmm. First round pick.
I liked Larry
He's the
Warford,
starter.
But like Anthony Zettel was still a backup on San Fran. All 4 of their defensive linemen were all first round picks.
He was a backup on our team though.
Here, but listen, let's put this in perspective. Let's put this in perspective. It's about being able to get the production out the player based on your scheme. Yeah. That has to happen. And so we're not getting that. I mean, if we follow the trend of you, Andrew, then Darius Slay is not a Lion. Because that man had a very rough beginning. Very rough. He was getting benched and everything. The difference is you stayed with him. And the system kept working in the way so he can get with the system. When he got a chance to get into a system that went to the strength of his skill set, he took off, made a Pro Bowl, and ain't looked back. A lot of times when a player comes to a team, which is one of the things that I find interesting about the NFL, you the trashiest team, but you get the best player, and that guy got to come in and build up confidence. I just think that you got to understand, once a player get the confidence built up and they do what they have to do, you're good. Everything in between that, no biggie.
At the same time, though, he's definitely he's underperformed in my opinion. And the thing is we can't replace everybody in one off season, and so I don't see that happening. However, if we had a better upgrade, I would upgrade the position. But if we get rid of Davis, I mean, you're talking Christian Jones. And Christian Jones is Dion Lewis as a linebacker.
I love that statement.
Wow.
Man, you and Dion Lewis, man. Listen, I'm with you guys. I think there's no way that we can let him go. I think we have to. Well, I'm not with Andrew, but I'm with the rest of you guys. Listen, we too much talent. Like seriously, he's super fast. He's a sideline to sideline linebacker, and he's powerful. I think that we need to utilize him more correctly, and I think that he can be an impact player on this team, and he suffered through injuries, and our entire defense suffered through injuries. So I think that that's what's been holding him back mostly, because even with Patricia, and maybe he is out of his position, the right position, he was still performing pretty damn well when our defensive line was showing up. And this season, our defensive line was obliterated with injuries. So I don't put that directly on Jarrad Davis's shoulders. And at $9.5 to $10 million, that's cheap. That's cheap. Even if he's playing at an average level for a linebacker, that's pretty cheap. Because if you're going out and getting a linebacker in free agency, you're going to be overpaying for him to come to Detroit, and it's going to be way more money than just $9.5 to $10 million. And if it doesn't work out, then he's gone in a year. But I think it has to happen. I think you have to pick it up. Anyway, let's move on to the next topic. We've spent too much time on this topic. So Dave Burkett asked 13 general managers in the NFL whom they believe the Lions will take a number 3 overall pick. Okay. The results were 8.5 votes. I don't know how there's a half, but this is what was reported. Okay. 8.5 votes for Okudah.
Just a tip.
2.5 votes for Derek Brown. 1 vote for Chase Young, and 1 vote for Tua. Okay, I'm going to start off with you, Luke, because you're the one beating the drum for Isaiah Simmons so hard, okay? How does it make you feel that – oh, well, never mind, not Luke, because Luke is now gone.
I'll take it.
All right, Jim, we're going to you.
All right.
So, we all were beating the drum for Isaiah Simmons on the last show, okay?
Yep.
All the GMs are saying that Isaiah Simmons is not the guy. None of the 13 GMs predicted Isaiah Simmons to the Lions. What do you think, and what do you think about who they predicted?
Well, they went with Okudah, and the reason that there's a half was because one guy picked Okudah and Derek Brown, I believe.
Oh, that would make sense, yeah.
So he said 2, so that's how you get the half. What do I think about what they're saying? Is Okudah a good player? Yeah. Is he a game changer? I don't know. I think Isaiah Simmons in this defense would be a game changer for us. And so because of the fact that Slay's in play right now, they were trying to trade him, although I don't think they're going to trade him anymore. But I like Okudah. I think there's bigger needs. Let me just put it that way. We need a pass rush, and that will help our corners. We already have Slay. If we can get a corner in free agency, I think we're good. I do. So I think that what do we need? We need pass rush. We need a person that can cover running backs and tight ends. How many times has a tight end come over the middle and just killed us on third down?
Absolutely.
Or a running back, a crossing route. See, and that's what he takes away.
Yeah,
absolutely. Luke, we're going to go to you next because we were going to go to you until you fell off. So yeah.
No. What happened was I was reading the chat, and it said that one of the subs, a guy that I had talked with numerous of times, he followed us. It said that he passed away. So I'm trying to confirm this.
Oh my God.
So I end up hopping off really quick to send him a message because I have his personal number to see if he would answer the phone. No answer. And I'm like, okay. And the guy hasn't responded on if he's saying this to be truthful or if he's making this up. So it kind of threw me off. But I'm gonna figure it out when we're done with this. Cause I'm sending him messages and hopefully he responds. But go ahead. What's the question? My apologies. Go ahead.
No, man, that is terrible to hear. And what we talk about here, we don't get into deep stuff like that. We talk about football, and but when you see something that's real life like that, it's crazy to hear. And I'm sorry if anybody is going through something in their life, or if that's true, man, that's terrible to hear. But All right. The question was Dave Burkett asked 13 GMs whom they believe the Lions will take with the number 3 overall pick. And the predictions came in 8.5 votes for Okudah, 2.5 votes for Derek Brown, 1 vote for Chase Young, and 1 vote for Tua. So you were the one beating the drum so hard on Isaiah Simmons. And you're the one that's predicting, and you're saying that that's the guy 100%. So what do you think about these predictions? Do they sway your opinion on who you think the Lions are going to pick?
No, not one bit. First of all, Jeffrey Okudah you got to keep in mind, you're talking 3rd overall. If you're taking a cornerback 3rd overall, he needs to have a serious impact. You would have to do some serious work to find me a cornerback taken in the top 5 that balled out like this. I mean, if you were to go through and say Denzel Ward or something like that, where were they shutting it all down? I read that article and I could not stop laughing. Because to me, the first thing that jumped out to me was they act as if that's what other people think, then let them think that. They also thought that the year that we took Frank Ragnow, that we was going to take somebody totally different. They were wrong. Nobody had us pegged to take Jarrad Davis. Wrong again. Nobody had us pegged to take Jelani Tavai. Wrong. If all those GMs believe that, great. It's probably the same 8 who pray to God that they can move up to the 3rd spot. So as far as I'm concerned, no, it doesn't sway my position. Isaiah Simmons is the pick, and he should be.
Okay. All right. I'm glad to see you stick to your guns, man. Listen, I'm going to stick to my guns as well. I've been saying this whole time that I think that we're going to pick Okudah, unfortunately, even though I'd want to pick Simmons so bad, especially after his combine. You see how fast this guy is at his size. He's historically fast for his size, and it pains me to say it, but I truly think we're going to take Okudah, and it breaks my heart. But Mike, Dave Burkett asked 13 GMs. None of them picked Isaiah Simmons. A bunch of them picked Okudah. What do you think? Does this sway what you believe the Lions are going to pick?
8.5 votes for Okudah, so that is 8.5 wrong. 2.5 votes for Brown. I would give that as a decent chance. 1 for Young, a decent chance. 1 for Tua, that's just completely off the wall. Look, there's no chance we're taking Tua. There's a little bit of chance of Brown. Okudah, we're in a win now mandate, and he could be a great corner, and I think he will be a great corner in this league. But statistically, scientifically, when it comes to football analytics, cornerbacks that are rookies, they struggle the first year or so, first 2 years. We need to win now, and I do not see us picking Okudah to win now. He will struggle, and that's not what we need. We need an impact player immediately, someone that's going to be on the field and immediately make an impact for this defense. If our defense is horrible like last year, guess what? Bob Quinn wouldn't be picking next year after that because he'll be fired. Same with Matt Patricia. If we have the ability to get an Isaiah Simmons with that 3rd pick or 5th pick, you do it. If Chase Young fell to us and Simmons goes to, are you going to take Okudah over Chase Young? Are you going to take Brown over Chase Young? That to me, it's unrealistic. We'll trade back, and we're going to get an individual that can be an immediate impact. It's so funny. PFF literally argued with me and made fun of me a couple months ago when I said they're not taking Okudah. They laughed at me. Last week they did a mock draft. They said Isaiah Simmons is going to be the pick, and I died laughing. I said, you have got to be kidding me. This idea that you simply pick because that's what the fit you want is not the case. You got to look at what the situation is, the scenario is, the impact, what will happen immediately. And there's so many different scenarios. And I think Okudah is going to be a great player in this league. I truly do. But he's not going to be a great player as a rookie. I think Isaiah Simmons could be an immediate impact next year. I think Chase Young can be immediate impact. I think even Derek Brown could be a better impact this coming year than Okudah. And to me, if you're going to get a player, you need to get a guy who's going to be on the field disrupting, and he is not going to be one of those players, and Tua sure as hell not going to be on the field.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's. Yeah. I mean, I'm with you. I just think that the Lions are going to pick Okudah. I just think like the guy that we want is not.
But why though? Why though? Give me something I can hold on to, grab to, some logic. Why?
I think that they believe that Slay is out the door, and I think that they believe that Okudah is his replacement, and they know. And I think that the way that they were shifting around cornerbacks, the way that they were trying to trade for cornerbacks, the way that they're still trying to, aim for corner. I said quarterbacks. I meant cornerbacks. The way that they're still trying to aim for cornerbacks in free agency, I just feel like Okudah's been their guy and he's going to be their guy, and I think it's a done deal, and it's Okudah, unfortunately. But Andrew, go ahead, Luke. What do you guys say?
I'm trying to act like I don't hear. Okay, listen. What? Okay. Where was Charles Woodson drafted?
I'm sorry.
Where was Charles Woodson drafted? Was he a top 5 pick? Was he?
I'm not.
Yeah, he's on the Raiders. Was he a top 5 pick?
I don't remember.
It's been a long time, Luke.
Okay, all right. Listen, just stay with me. Here's the point I'm trying to make to you. He wasn't taken 3rd overall. Yet we're going to take a guy less polished than him, 3rd overall, to replace Slay. Don't see it.
Yeah.
It don't make sense.
Yeah, he was taken 4th.
I'm with
overall.
you. I completely agree with you. I just don't think that that's what Bob Quinn and Patricia believe. I think that they are going to get Okudah, and I think not. Also, I'm also just biasly a Lions fan, and they've disappointed me every single draft that I've been alive. So you're trying
to psych yourself out, then?
No.
Okay.
In all honesty, if they draft Okudah, it's not a bad pick.
No,
yes, it is.
It is a terrible pick.
He will be a player for the Lions down the road. He will be a great player like a Darius Slay, in my opinion. But I believe in year 1, he's not going to be that type of player. I think they need to get an impact player immediately, a guy that is literally day 1 is going to be a starter. Okudah, to me, if we were in the ability to rebuild and we weren't in a win now mandate, it wouldn't be a bad pick, when you're looking years down the road. But if I'm Bob Quinn and I'm Matt Patricia, I want a guy that's going to disrupt an offense day 1.
Listen,
I think
Luke, before you say anything, Luke, the thing that you just said about it's going to be a bad pick is exactly what me and Real argued with Hawkinson. Is he going to be good in the future? Is he going to be good in the future? Yes. But was it a bad pick in the moment? Yes.
No. My argument is not that. My argument is it's a bad pick only because that there's a better prospect for your need there. Cornerback is. I would even put guard ahead of cornerback. I would take Chase Young over Okudah. Okay. The pick is bad because it is not the best pick you can take for your need. And so that's what makes it a bad pick. In the case of the Lions, T.J. Hawkinson was the best pick they can get for the need. Not Ed Oliver.
I
not
totally
Bush.
disagree with that because we don't use tight ends. We've never been a tight end team, passing team.
We just got a tight end for the first time. Listen, it's like trying on new shoes. They don't usually feel too good until you break them in. He just got here.
Now, here's a good question. Last year, if Okudah and TJ Hawkinson available at number 8, who are you going to take? In my personal opinion, I probably would take Okudah, knowing the fact that you're going to have an individual that's going to be a star on the defense. I thought that the defensive line would be much improved, and we could do somewhat of a luxury pick with getting a mauler on the ground when it comes to running game. That's not the case, though. I
would throw up.
I think Okudah is going to be a very special player years to come, just like Darius Slay was. I think he has a higher ceiling than Darius Slay. I just don't believe in year one he's going to be that type of player.
Okudah wouldn't even been the best cornerback coming out of last year's draft. Come on, man. Come on.
The way I see this is we are currently in a Detroit Lions car, and we are slowly driving into a wall, and that wall is the draft. And I'm bracing for impact by saying that Okudah is going to be our pick because I know it is. And I just want to survive this pick mentally. Anyway,
it's kind of a question of, do you believe in Quinn and Patricia or all of them to pick the right pick? I mean, we're saying who we think is the right pick, but what are they going to do?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It's two
Andrew,
different scenarios.
Yeah,
Andrew, you haven't been able to speak on this. There's been 13 GMs, and they Dave Burkett asked them who the Lions going to pick at 3 overall. 8.5 went to Okudah, 2.5 went to Brown, 1 went to Young, 1 went to Tua. None went to Isaiah Simmons. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I totally get where they're coming from. When you look at paper, you look at our pass coverage, our pass defense, and it was pitiful. So people's first reaction is, well, it's our cornerback's fault. Wrong. It's not our cornerback's fault. The majority of the fault falls on our pass rush. Our pass rush ability was non-existent. And I personally believe firmly that if you have a strong front seven, you can get away with a weak secondary. If you look at the Bears from when they had that dominant season just like a year ago, who do they have in their secondary? They had Kyle Fuller, who they've had for freaking forever. He had a phenomenal season because of their front seven. And then I'm totally drawing a blank on that safety. Eddie Jackson freaking went off with that front seven. And you just look at how their defense, went about each game, and they were versing good teams. But what happened? That front seven was so dominant that teams didn't have time to develop plays. They didn't have time to go deep against them. They couldn't run the ball. They couldn't do anything. So to say that Okudah would be the right pick, and all these GMs are saying that, I think is just absolutely absurd. Because until you can establish a good front seven, it doesn't matter how good your secondary is. Even the infamous Legion of Boom had a phenomenal linebacker in Bobby Wagner. They had a pass rush. They had a lot going on so that they could become the Legion of Boom. So, the whole 8.5 picks on Okudah, it doesn't logically make sense. And if the Lions think that he will be the answer, is just ridiculous.
Wow.
Yeah.
I just you know what? Somebody chime in on the clap sound effect. Could we give him an applause for that? God, why are we struggling with this reality that we have to be like? This is what the pundits want. The pundits want to put it out there. Now, don't get it twisted, people. If the Lions somehow, some way, make a trade where they pick up multiple picks, let's say they mess around and they trade all the way down from 3 to 8, and they pick up 2 seconds, they get an additional first in next year's draft, and then the first in this year's draft to go down. And we don't get Simmons, great. We don't get Chase Young, great. We don't get there, but whoever you like, we don't get them, great. And then they take Okudah, I'm not going to kill him over the pick because they acquired more talent. See, I think his talent is great. I think he's a great pick. I would stay fast unless they come with a great trade. But to sit there and act as if though the problems of the Lions fall within the laps of the cornerbacks, as my man Andrew say, it's simply not true. It's not. God, yeah. Andrew.
Hold up. Look, before you say anything, I actually see someone saying, they had Adrian Amos, they have Eddie Jackson, Kyle Fuller, but where was that before their front seven became as dominant as it was? They weren't doing anything. Eddie Jackson was a no-name player. Amos was decent at best, and Kyle Fuller had spurts of great games. He could never intercept the ball. He would get his hands on it frequently, but he could never actually catch the ball. That's why he's a DB. And he would get burnt here and there. But once that front seven was put into place, then they all started balling out. So I just want to put that out there real quick.
Hey, I'm just going to say I love you, Andrew. That's all. I just wanted people to know that it's all love. What you did there, man. It's just...
And it's straight facts, because I believe the strength of our team was the secondary last year. When it came to our front seven, we came to our defensive line, the pass rush was non-existent and they got exposed. It doesn't matter if you have Darrelle Revis and Darius Slay on both sides with Patrick Peterson in there. If you can't get to the quarterback 7-8 seconds, you're going to get picked apart. And that's what occurred. We got to get a pass rush. We have to have the ability to get after the quarterback and put a little bit of fear in them. If we do that, this whole defense can come together. And it's simply what they need to do. They need to build the trenches. Lavish Life, he says, I first seen J-Mo because we were at the game, but my mind went back to blank. I couldn't think of y'all names. So I came home and commented on the video. Well, if you see us at the games or any of the DSA members, just come say hi. I remember going there and a bunch of subscribers came up and we talked for a while. So don't be afraid, man. If you see one of us at a game or a practice, come on down, man.
Heck yeah. I know me and Real try and go to a couple games if we can.
Yeah, I just got to make that drive out to Detroit. Okay, so next topic. So listen, Kelly Stafford, okay, she claims that Matthew Stafford's back is fully healed. Great news. Okay, so this year, before he got injured, in the 8 games that he played, he was on track to have 5,000 yards and 38 touchdowns by the end of the season. With a full year under Bevel's system this season, what do you think his ceiling is? We're going to start off with you, Jim.
Okay, I didn't hear the question, so go ahead and one more time.
All right, we're going to start off with you, Andrew. Go ahead, Andrew. We'll come back to you, Jim.
All right. So I think that it's unrealistic to say that a quarterback will throw for 5,000 yards and 40-plus touchdowns. Even my boy, Drew Brees, it's unrealistic. I think something reasonable for Stafford this upcoming year is about 4,000 yards and 30-plus touchdowns. Just because, we have some wide receivers in place, I think our run game will get better. And I think that our defense will play more fluidly this upcoming season because, we'll have more people on the field. And I'm assuming, if I'm right, we'll get a couple high draft picks towards the defensive side of the ball. So I think that we'll be able to be a little bit more balanced instead of, trying to go all out on a play to potentially score or just run the ball to chew up clock or something. I think we'll be a lot more balanced throughout the entire season. And I think Stafford will definitely be able to hit at least 4,030 touchdowns.
No. Listen, Andrew, you didn't hear the question. I said, what is his ceiling? We're talking about Matthew Stafford here with Darrell Bevell. Okay,
4,500 yards and 35 touchdowns this upcoming season. I
completely disagree. I'm saying 5,000 yards, 45 TDs is this man's ceiling. I have all the faith in the world for Matthew Stafford. And as of right now, we have done nothing to improve our run game. And our O-line has gotten worse because we're letting go of Graham Glasgow. So I think we're going to throw more unless something changes, which I expect to happen. But as of right now, it hasn't. So with Bevel's system, I fully anticipate Matthew Stafford's ceiling to be 5,000 yards and 45 TDs. Jim, now we're going to you.
Sorry,
what do you think is
somebody
no, no, man, do not apologize, man. It happens. There's technical difficulties. Things happen. We're all at our own homes. We get distracted. Things happen. Don't apologize. But listen, what do you think Matt Stafford's ceiling is with a full year under Bevel?
If he ain't looking up at the ceiling, I'm being honest, man. If we don't address that offensive line, his ceiling's 4,000 yards and probably about 35 touchdowns.
That's what I was saying, man.
If we don't, and that's honestly, that's just the offensive line. It's just the offensive line, man.
Okay, all right, that's fair. I disagree completely, but all right.
That's all right. That's what we do this for.
It's all opinions,
Mike, what is Matt Stafford's ceiling? His back is fully healthy. He was on track for 5,000 yards, even with an injured back. His back was injured from last season. You guys got to remember this. He just re-aggravated it, and it was a whole new injury this season. He wasn't fully healed going into last year. And now our offensive line is worse. We've done nothing to improve our run game. Mike, what do you think Matt Stafford's ceiling is?
Well, I'm going to tell you that his back's not fully healed. It will never fully heal back to the way it was. I have spine issues. I've never broken a spine, but I can tell you right now with double neck fusions and issues all over my spine, every day that passes is worse than the next. All it takes is one hit to re-aggravate it, and that's very scary to think about. I'm sure he's feeling a lot better, and hopefully that can continue. I do not want your prediction at all to occur for him to get 5,000 yards and that many touchdowns, because that means we have to run up the score, and I don't want that to occur. I want to have a quality defense and a run game. So I'm hoping that it's 32 touchdowns and maybe around 4,000 yards, maybe a little bit less than that, because we can actually run the football for the first time in Stafford's career. You win by running the football. We have to pound the rock. We have to be balanced on offense. If we're doing another 5,000 yards, that means our season's going to go in the dumps, and I don't want that to occur. So I'm hoping his ceiling is 4,000 at most, because we actually got a 1,000-yard runner, and we have the ability to close out games and not have to come back from behind.
Okay, all right. Mike's coming at us with the facts, talking about real stuff, talking about the back injuries. You clearly know a lot more about that than I do. I'm going at it as, Stafford's talent and what we've seen, but I totally get what you're saying. And maybe you've changed my opinion. Luke, what do you think? What do you think Stafford's ceiling is with a full year under Bevel this season?
Okay. You know what? I don't care if I take nobody off with this. I don't. The question shouldn't even be pertaining to no Darrell Bevel. What is his ceiling going to be under Matt Patricia? Is Matt Patricia going to give him a run game, or he's just going to have him throw the ball all day? If the answer is he's going to have him throw the ball all day, give him 6,000 yards. Okay. If he's going to give him a legitimate run game, I'll go with Andrew about 45 yards, 4,500 yards. But the problem is what type of game are they going to play? And what is the head coach going to dial up that would signify it's the right move? So for me, it just the ceiling is going to be dictated by the coaching. And to me, if Stafford was already on pace to having an amazing season, but if the head coach can't figure it out how to get out of his own way, the ceiling ain't going to be too bright for him, in my opinion.
Okay, all right. I didn't know I was going to be the minority on this one. Listen, I was just trying to be an optimist on Stafford. I love that man. But look, you guys want it to be very serious. So listen, okay, let's talk about offensive line, guys. So we have an issue when it comes to offensive line. We have pretty much no guards on the team right now. Joe Dahl is our starting top guard right now. And then we have a guy in Rick Wagner, which a lot of fans want us to cut. And then we have a guy in Taylor Decker, who's currently under contract this year, and we don't know what's going to happen next year. So we really have a lot of holes to fill. So speaking on the offensive line, Jason Peters was just released by the Eagles. And 1 year ago, he was ranked by PFF as the 7th best offensive tackle in the NFL. I know you hate PFF, Luke, but
I ain't say nothing.
But hey,
I ain't say nothing.
He's been productive as recently as 2018. So he took a pay cut in 2019. His production clearly took a dip, and now he is looking for a new team. Would you guys take a chance on the 38-year-old? Let's start with you, Mike.
Well, no, I would not take a chance. What up, though, LA Original? Thanks for dropping by. No, I'm not going to take a chance. There's one thing that I have been continuous talking about when it comes to the roster on this team. I want players who are not injured. I want players who are known to be healthy to stay on the field. The last thing we need is an aging tackle who gets injured. That is the last thing we need. We need to get healthy players. I would prefer to get younger. If we're going to go on the offensive line, let's draft a guard if that need be, or pick up a good free agent guard. If they want to go the tackle route, I think the tackles that we have would be better than Jason Peters, because I just think he's 38, he's injured, he is past his prime. There's a reason why he got let go. and we have better options to deal with than him.
Okay, Mike. Well, let me throw this at you then. The Redskins and Trent Williams are having disagreements. Trent Williams wants out now. Okay. Trent Williams is a freaking beast. All right. Would you trade for Trent Williams then? And if so, for how much?
Well, it would depending the market that it pertains to him. I'm not sure exactly what they're trying to get out of him. If they're this open about it, they're probably not going to get a whole lot. I don't know what the trade value for him is. I know he was injured as well, but he had a whole year off, and he is older. So, again, I think I'm staying with what I got. I think that I would actually take number 68, Mr. False Start, a little over individuals, this little over the hill as well as banged up, and ride with that. If you're talking like a 6th round pick or something ridiculously low, okay, I'll contemplate that, but I don't think that they're going to want to get more. Too much for us to give up. We need to get younger. This draft is full of talent. Let's not get older. Let's get younger, build up this offensive line with some young guys to open up the holes and move forward.
Okay, that's fair. Andrew. All right. So our offensive line needs help, man. We have 2 guys at the tackle spot that don't look like they could possibly be gone in the long term. We definitely have them under contract this season, but who knows what could happen. And we really don't have depth behind them at all. So what would you do regarding Jason Peters being let go from the Philadelphia Eagles? He's 38 years old, but he still has some left in the tank. And also, Trent Williams is seeking a trade. And let me just paint some color around Trent Williams. He's 31 years old right now. He's been in the league 9 years. He's been to 7 Pro Bowls. And in 2020, he's under contract for 1 more year only, and his cap hit would be $14.5 million. So if we were to trade for him, we'd have him for only 1 year, and it would be for $14.5 million. What would you do?
First off, I want to just say, everyone in the chat, hit that like button, subscribe to all of our channels, show some love to the DSA. I thought about this, once I saw that Trent Williams thing, I got really excited. I want to touch base on the Jason Peters thing first. You know what kind of is worse than a 40-year-old quarterback is a 38-year-old left tackle. Okay. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you were the best left tackle ever to do it. If Joe Thomas came back, he's 38, whatever, I don't care. You're a left tackle. You need to protect my quarterback that just had a lot of back injuries the past 2 years. I do not want a 38-year-old protecting my quarterback, let alone he's in a situation where he just wants some extra money before he goes into retirement. So, no, I do not want Jason Peters. I don't hate anything on his game. I thought he was one of the best left tackles I've ever seen, but, his time has come and passed. As far as Trent Williams goes, I love the dude. The guy's only 31 years old. The amount of money we would be paying for him for his last year in his contract is about average, so I would love to get Trent Williams. The dude is an all-pro. He's been to the Pro Bowl almost every single year he's played in the league. He had an entire year off to rest his body and just kind of get right because, the game takes a toll on your body. I think that would be the best case scenario. And then if we can move Taylor Decker somewhere else, potentially over to right tackle because Rick Wagner is older, that would probably be the best case scenario.
Yeah, that's fair to say. That's fair to say for sure. Jim, what do you think about this situation going on with our O-line right now? Stafford obviously needs protection. We obviously need to improve our run game, and that all starts with the O-line. We have mystery happening in the future for our offensive tackle positions. What would you do in this situation, especially when somebody like Jason Peters is on the open market now and Trent Williams is seeking a trade?
Well, number one, I don't want anybody that needs bifocals to try to protect my quarterback.
Oh my God.
Man.
I'll say no to Peters. That's the first thing. We get Trent Williams, that wouldn't be terrible, but I don't even like I'm not really sure that Decker can play right tackle. I don't think he's great I don't think he's a great run blocker. I think he's a decent left tackle. I don't think he's great either. I think we got massive problems on the defensive line. I'll tell you who I would go after. I'd go after Jack Conklin. He's 25, 26 years old right now out of Tennessee. And if they don't do something with him or re-sign him, that would be a target I would want as a right tackle.
I totally agree, Jim. I just wanted to say I would probably still keep Decker, but move him somewhere else.
Right.
I'd have to evaluate, obviously.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right, that's interesting. Yeah, Conklin would be a solid pickup for sure, but he's going to break the bank probably.
Yeah, he probably will, but we need that though. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I probably feel the same way. Luke, what do you think about this O-line situation? What would you do? Would you pick up? Would you pick up Peter?
Don't even finish the question. No. Oh, listen, if we gonna start this, you know what? Since we're gonna start the all, I'm just saying, if we're gonna start the all AARP team, might as well go get Trent Williams. I mean, let's just go ahead and do it. Let's go get Trent. Let's get Jason Peters. Pick up Tom Brady. You know what? We can call this old school versus new school. I want them to bring back now.
Chad Ochocinco.
Yeah, bring back everybody. I mean, matter of fact, the older the better. What are we talking about? Listen, people?
Ric Flair,
Brett Favre.
Why would you bring in a guy who may give you 6 games? Why would you do this?
Are you talking about Peters? Or are you talking about Williams?
I'm talking about both of them. They might start a competition for who can get hurt the fastest. Seriously. And they may do that looking at each other. Like, you ever see somebody have a collision course staring? They'll look at each other and both just bad backs, bad shoulders, bad knees. No. Stay away from people who are injury prone.
Luke, let me push back on you, man. I always feel like I'm pushing back on you, man, because you're the most passionate. I know. Listen.
He's impenetrable.
What's it? Is Williams? Maybe I just don't know. Maybe I'm ignorant. But is Williams? Does he have a long injury history? I thought that he had one, major injury. He was off for a year, but like before that, he wasn't injured a lot, was he?
Yes, he was injured often. Yes, he was. He missed a lot of significant games. And to me, when you look at Trent Williams' history, is you can't do that. You just can't do it. And to me, it's like, listen, Jim, I love you. Go get somebody 25 years old who has an opportunity to do something.
Yep.
But listen, really quick, I want to put this out there. For those people who want Tua, just stay with me. Let me ask you a question. What hand does Tua throw with? Left hand. So if you draft Tua, don't you got to draft a solid right tackle?
Yes, sir.
Which means that now you're creating a whole nother set of problems. So why would you draft Tua? See, this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. We got to start thinking before we say stuff, because you go out and you get Tua and you decide to do what? Leave Rick Wagner as his right tackle? Yeah, he going to be good. You create a whole different set of... Listen, you know what? Next question. I can't take it anymore. Next question.
All right. There's somebody else seeking a trade right now, and that's Leonard Fournette. He recently posted that he's, all alone after AJ Boye was traded, so it's looking like he might want to be traded out of Jacksonville. So, we haven't had that star running back on our team, right? Leonard Fournette, he has that clout. Andrew, would you go after Leonard Fournette?
How did I know you're going to ask me first? I don't think that going after a running back is going to change our running game, because until you establish the O-line, it doesn't matter how good your running backs are. What did Saquon do this year? Saquon had such a phenomenal rookie season and pretty much cut his production in half because the O-line was so horrific. What did Bell do? Nothing. Because their O-line is crap, and he was getting touched literally at the line of scrimmage. Even Zeke, the Dallas Cowboys O-line took a big hit this year with injuries and just how well they were doing as a whole. And Zeke struggled throughout the season. I don't care how good of a running back you have. If you don't have a good O-line or an above average O-line, nobody's going to be productive. So until we get that settled, I don't care who you bring in. And Leonard Fournette struggles sometimes. I mean, he's had phenomenal games. A dude can break one for 80 yards and a touchdown any moment, but he's injury prone. And there's a lot of games where you look, he's only averaging 2 yards a carry, 3 yards a carry. So I'll pass. I'll definitely pass on that.
Okay,
You know what?
all right. That's Luke. Go ahead, bro.
Andrew, I'm liking you more and more better than real these days.
You just gotta get to know me, man. You just gotta get to know me.
It's just, it's amazing how the ties can turn. Go ahead, real.
Luke,
I feel
he's
like you.
impenetrable, so don't try to.
You're
go
right.
after
My bad. Go ahead, real. Go ahead.
I don't know
Real.
why.
My bad.
I don't know why you're killing the messenger right now. I'm asking the questions. I didn't say I never said I'm getting Leonard Fournette. I never said I'm getting Jason Peters. I'm just asking the questions, man. Come on, don't kill me.
You're right. I love you.
We're the dynamic duo, man. Get it right.
Yeah. Come on, we're a package deal. If you love him, you love me. All right.
Okay, my bad. Batman and Rob. We the Bat family. My bad. We together. We here.
All right. Well, Luke, why don't you go ahead? Why don't you go ahead and say why you don't want Leonard Fournette?
Who gonna block for him? Leonard Fournette. When have you seen Leonard Fournette create his own run ever? Who's blocking
Bowden,
for him?
man. Nick Bowden.
Man, what? Leonard Fournette literally goes straight. He don't do nothing else. He runs straight. Every once in a while, he'll attempt a juke move, but he runs straight. Listen. Okay, the bigger question is this: why do the Jacksonville Jaguars want to get rid of him?
They're cleaning shop, man. They're cleaning shop.
Yeah, they're cleaning the house.
They are cleaning the house. They are. I get it. But think about it. Why do you really want to get rid of him? He's been a bit of a
troublemaker.
First of all, a troublemaker. He's had his fair share of problems. And so to me, he's had his success, but that came with a line that blocked for the run. Who's doing that in Detroit? And then you gotta come to the most important part of it. As much as we run a dive, who is the guard that's gonna get somebody out the way for him to be able to build up steam to run somebody over?
Well, Luke, you know what's frustrating? You say this, but at the same time, you say you want to draft somebody in the second round. You want to draft a running back. Why do you want to draft a running back then?
Bang,
Okay.
bang.
Mic drop.
I know. Y'all see that? Here's the thing. The reason I want J.K. Dobbins in the second round is because J.K. Dobbins can create his own run. His vision is elite. Leonard Fournette has not had to have elite vision. He came from a school with a good offensive line, went to a team with a good offensive line. Offensive line died. His run game died with it. And then the thing that you got to look at is this. J.K. Dobbins can catch the ball up the backfield and get yards after the catch. How many times you gonna throw the ball to Leonard Fournette to get that kind of production? J.K. Dobbins can put that foot in the dirt, one cut, and get the hell out of there. You're not getting that same type of production from a Leonard Fournette. And then on top of that, it's not gonna cost me the trouble of knowing that he could possibly be suspended with J.K. Dobbins. I know Leonard Fournette is a good chance think about this. Leonard Fournette come to Detroit. And he's not gonna get in trouble? Nah, bro. No.
Okay,
J.K. Dobbins makes more sense.
Why don't you just want to draft a guard then in the second round? We have Bo, we have Carry-On. What's the problem?
I'll take a guard. You've never heard me say I will go against it. I just said that
fighting for a running back, man.
the reason I was fighting for the running back in the second round is because the running back class is not as deep as other classes. So if you go and you decide to say go with the guard, right? You go with the guard. But the question now becomes, who's the running back you're going to get that you feel so confident that you can put them in and get production? If Carry-On goes down, who's filling in for him?
Bo. Look, I'm
He got injury problems.
I'm with you. It's just if you're saying that's the argument for not picking up Leonard Fournette, it's the same thing to me. I get that you're saying that Dobbins can create a run. I don't care how much of a run you can create. You need an O-line in front of you. I think you have to address the O-line. So I'm with you and I'm with Andrew. You got to address the old line. I'm not about drafting a running back early, and I'm not about spending significant capital at all, whether it's cap space or trading or draft capital on a running back at all. I think our running backs are more than serviceable, and they would be great on teams with a great offensive line. But let's go to you, Jim. I heard you comment a few times while we're in there. What do you think about going after Leonard Fournette or maybe drafting somebody? Running back.
I'm for drafting. I'm for drafting Jonathan Taylor in second round. Definitely am.
Okay, please expand.
And I have, because we can do a lot with our offensive line through trades and free agency, and still be young. I mentioned Conklin. He's only 25, somewhere in there. I mean, we're going to replace Wagner with somebody that can play a lot better than him. Number one. Number two, we're going to get a guy a lot younger. And there was a trade that was out there for Trey Turner. It's a possible thing. I would love to keep Glasgow, but unfortunately, it seems like he wants to leave. To answer your question about Fournette, I don't like him. I'd just be straight up. I'm just going to be straight up with you. I wouldn't take him.
Me and Jim, man, I'm telling you, we might be brothers, man. I don't know what's going on here, but you know.
I don't either. I was thinking that when you were saying this stuff, because I'm like, man, it's like a kindred spirit or something. I don't know what's going on. Man.
I mean, listen.
Well, you're going to jerk each other off too? Come on, man.
No, I'm just saying. I literally looked at the chat. The chat, I think it was Ghost Gunner. He said, "Oh, he has 7.6 yards a reception," and I'm like, okay, on how many targets? You know. I'm sure he's looking at it for a career. And now go and look at the targets. First season, 48 targets, 36 catches, 26 targets, 22 catches, 100 targets, 76 catches. That's a catch percentage of 77%. Now, here's my problem, people. Stay with me. Those numbers, I'm just want to show you the reception. The reception for 2.8 yards in the first season, 2.8 yards in the second, and 5.1 in his last. The lines are setting it up for him, and the ability guarding Minshew really helped a lot last year. But he ain't nobody that you're gonna bring here. That man touched the ball 265 times and got 1,152 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's a lot of touches for him to get 1,000 yards. You can get 1,000 yards with, I think, 60-some yards a game? And he got 265 touches. That's crazy. I'm staying away from him. I'm not buying into the hype of him. Lions fans got to stay away from this belief that every time somebody get released, we pick them up. You know, when they release Arnold Schwarzenegger from Governor, Lions fans, you got to get him.
Gotta get him.
You got to have him. Yeah.
Yes. I have a proposition for you guys. So,
I want to be the dissenter.
So let's say let's say we move Frank Ragnow back to guard. Somehow we keep Glasgow or we bring in Tooney, right? So you have 2 guards that can play. Your run game is now gonna, take a boost because it did the year before last when Carry-On was rushing for about 6 yards a carry. But let's say you add a veteran like Jordan Howard, who's still in his prime, running the ball phenomenal, and now you have a bruiser that fits Bevel's system. You have 2 guards that can do whatever they need to do to help with the run game, because right now our biggest weakness on the O-line is definitely guards. And you're not investing a second-round pick in a running back, and then you can take that second pick and go invest in your defense, make your defense quicker, stronger, faster, and cheaper. What do you guys think about that?
Love it. Absolutely love it. It'd be cheap. It'd be the most minimum capital that we can get for an impact running back. And Jordan Howard has shown that he can play. He can play. But listen. Let's go to Mike, because Mike hasn't answered yet. Mike, what would you do at running back? Leonard Fournette, on the trade block right now. There's Jordan Howard. There's your boy Dion Lewis. What would you do? What would you do at running back?
I would definitely not do Mr. 209. I think that is not even a last resort. I think I'll take Jamal Agnew at running back over Dion Lewis.
Dion Lewis. I knew that.
I'm going to be the dissenter here. I'm going to be the dissenter. We're seeing what Jacksonville's doing. They're on a fire sale. They're trying to get the first pick next year in this draft, and they're getting rid of people left and right. They tagged Ngakoue. They're going to trade him. They're trading people. They're releasing people. If you can get Leonard Fournette for a 5th round pick, we have 2 5th round picks. He's still on his rookie deal. We're going to invest in the offensive line and the guard position, whether it's free agency or in this draft. It will get addressed. They're going to bolster that offensive line. If you could get a Leonard Fournette for a 5th round pick, we have 2 of them. You have Bo Scarborough and Kerryon Johnson and him. If one of those guys get injured, there's going to be 2 healthy. If 2 gets injured, there's still another guy. The rotation could work. It's just a 5th round pick. It would just be a guy on a rookie deal, so it's not going to cost a lot. He was on a bad team with a bad offense and a bad quarterback. If you get Matthew Stafford with our wide receivers and our tight ends, it will open up the hole for a Leonard Fournette, and I think we'll get production out of him. It's a little bit of risk, but hell, if it's a 5th round pick, why not? We got to take a little bit of risk here and there. I think this is one that I would jump on. We do need to run the football. If they feel that there's a running back, though, in this draft and we got extra 2nd round picks or whatever, fine, go that route. But if we don't, why not take a risk for a 5th round pick? I mean, a lot of our picks that we got last year didn't even make the team. I mean, if you looked at, we got P.J. Johnson, 7th round pick, didn't even make the team. We had a tight end who just came on the team at the end of the year. We traded for Blau for a 7th round pick. We don't know if he's going to be on this year. A 5th round pick is one of those deals as well. Take a shot, take a chance. Why the hell not?
Mike, you think they're going to let them go for a 5th round pick?
Yeah, I do. I think they're at a fire sale right now. I think a 5th round pick would be ideal. He don't want to be there. They don't want him. They simply are just trying to get any sort of capital for any of their players because they're doing what the Miami Dolphins did last year and what the Las Vegas Raiders did the year before. They are getting up draft picks to get their quarterback next year in the draft. Anything they can get for anybody without releasing, I feel like they're going to do that.
Then they better give me some of that D line that they got going on
Hell,
over there.
hell yeah.
Real.
I tell you what, if you could get an Ngakoue for not a 1st round pick, but they're on a fire sale. They got a lot of players there that will get traded. This is a team you guys got to watch in this draft. I think a lot of teams are going to pick players off. And yeah, if they got some defensive players they're willing to get rid of, we can even price some of those out as well. But I'm all about if you can get value for somebody, then try to. We got rid of Diggs for a stupid 5th round pick. Let's at least get something else for a 5th round pick. If we could get Snacks Harrison, why couldn't we get Fournette?
Because Snacks is almost 30. Or was 30 when we got. I mean, he was up there in the age. And then you got to think, if you're going to, okay, Real, I'm disappointed in you. Where's the pushback when I need you? Where you at? You sleep.
I'm picking these comments, man. I can't multitask like Mike and you can, man.
I mean, I'm just saying, where you at? But listen, real talk. If you're telling me that they want is a 5th round pick, you still got a problem because I think there's a lot of teams who will put that 5th round pick in, starting with the Titans. And so you have to be able to look at the value. They're going to give more than a 5th round pick for Leonard Fournette. Now, if they do give up a 5th round pick and he goes, Mike, you'd be the first one. I run on here and be like, man, Mike, don't you ever look into my future, okay? Because you're scaring me. But I just don't see him being that 5th round pick. I don't see it. I don't see it, and I don't think that he will be even worth that 5th round pick at this point because he will be a rental. You think he's going to stay here in Detroit?
But that's exactly what the Arizona Cardinals did last year. They gave up a 5th round pick for the running back from the Miami Dolphins. Turned out to be a damn stud who was a rental.
I wanted him so bad.
I wanted him as well.
He played phenomenal on the worst team in the NFL and then went to a good team that had solid line.
Literally, Jacksonville is following what the Miami Dolphins and the Raiders did. they're not going to keep these players. They're going to be. I think they could be held to where they're going to lose a little bit. When you're that willing to trade a player or trade players, you're willing to give up a little bit more. That's my fear about Darius Slay is I don't want to give him up for nothing. But if we can get him for a 5th round pick, I'm in it. Anything above that 4th round pick, I'm not really willing to invest because I feel like in the first 4 rounds, you're going to get starters or contributors. I think when you start talking 5th round, you're talking part-timers unless you're going punter. But I feel like if we could stash him for a 5th round pick, that would be ideal.
I mean, listen, I ain't mad at you, man. I'm having a little fun today. It's just I want to know where was real at on the pushback because I'm starting. I don't know if he needs some milk or something, but he needs to wake up and get some push. Where's the push? Jim, did you notice? Did you notice when we said something, he pushed back on it? Where was the pushback on Mike? Did you see that?
I did.
No pushback with Andrew, but he gonna push. It's okay.
To be fair, he usually has been disagreeing with me lately. So
that is true. That is true.
Well, I push back.
That is true
enough, man.
That is true.
Mike, I'll have to push back on you more, man.
Luke
is feeling hurt right now.
That's right. Get Mike. Mike, I love you, but it's time for you to get shooken up. Where you at, Real? I need you in the building.
Look. I just feel like I don't want to spend any capital on a running back. I really don't. I want to spend the most minimum amount of capital as possible on a running back because I feel like that's not the issue with our run game. The issue is the offensive line, and we've kind of we're beating a dead horse at this point. So I just I've said my piece with it, to be honest with you. but no, yeah, I just feel like we shouldn't waste any capital. Even if we trade back, I know Mike always says if we trade back, we have multiple 2nd round picks. We could use one of those. No, I feel like no. Then that's a great opportunity to fill more holes on the defense. I don't think that we should spend any, or at least a minimum. We should spend a minimum amount of draft or cap capital on a running back. All right, but listen, guys, we've been on for an hour and almost 12 minutes. So it's about that time on the roundtable. We are going to get to the comment questions. So all you guys in the chat right now, post your questions and we'll get to them. And, post them, you say who you want to answer it or we'll go around, whatever you guys want to do.
I saw a comment earlier from Dim Sum, and he was asking if we were going to open up a phone line for some calls.
Yeah, you know what? Listen, I used to have the phone lines open. And it was a bit of an issue, but yes, I would definitely open the phone lines back up if it's something that you guys want to do. I'll open them back up and bring the phone lines in. And if the phone calls come in, I'll leave them open. If they don't, I'm gonna close it right back down. So yes, I will bring the phone lines back for y'all.
As well as I will bring them up as well. I've seen a few comments lately about bringing them up, and I think it's fun to get you guys in on here and give us your mind. So we will definitely open it back up. Any more suggestions when it comes to any of our shows, please let us know. We take it all into account to improve the quality of product that you guys want.
Yeah, and I want to respond to the Dern real quick. He's been on the roundtable before, so I feel like I could push back on him. So he says a 5th is nothing. So, why can't we trade a 5th for Fournette? Listen, it's not just a 5th for Fournette because you're going to have to pay his contract too, and his contract is pretty big. Yeah, so it's going to be about $9 million, and just paying $9 million for a running back, that's a lot. So, especially when we have Kerryon and Bo already on our team, and they're pretty damn good. I think they have the talent. They just need to stay healthy, and we need to block for them. We were the worst. We were the worst team in the league for contact or running before contact or whatever it was. It was pretty much our O-line was getting demolished as soon as the snap happened. Defensive linemen were blowing through our O-line and exploding through it and getting to our running backs before any other team. So that's an O-line problem. It's not a running back problem. And but if we do draft a running back in the 5th round, that'd be fine with me. That'd be just using a 5th round pick. That'd be low enough capital for my taste.
I want to ask one question on this one right here.
Sure.
Tell me outside of Tavai, what second round pick has made any difference on this team?
Darius Slay.
So how are we wasting?
Darius Slay was a second
Oh, okay.
round pick.
Bob Quinn era was what I meant. I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
Okay, so you said what second round pick has made an impact on this team outside of
Tavai.
You're saying that because Tease Tabor was such a bust. Look, we all know.
Who else?
Hold on. Let's be honest. A'Shawn Robinson has made an impact on this team.
Yeah.
Okay.
Carryon has made an impact on this team, but obviously injuries play a factor in. Availability is the best type of thing, but he has made a huge impact. He was our first 100-yard rusher since God decided to create the earth, the heavens, and the moons. So now
I don't think we've drafted well in the second round.
Outside of Taze T-Bar, Jelani Tavai, A'Shawn Robertson, Carryon. I wouldn't call those bad.
I'm not a huge fan of A'Shawn, to be quite honest about it.
I'm not neither, but you said it made an impact, and he certainly has had an impact.
All right. No, I'll give you that. I'm just saying we're saying a second round pick like it's a is gold or something, and we really haven't got the gold out of a second round.
Yeah, you're 100% right.
I don't agree, man. Look, in the third we got Tracy Walker, we got Kenny. We've gotten starters and impact players in the second and further back. Like I
wasn't saying further back. I was specifically saying second.
Yeah, you're saying specifically the second round
because Carryon's been injury prone since college. I brought that up before. A'Shawn, if we had a defensive line right now, he'd be cut. I almost guarantee it.
I agree with that.
So I just don't. I disagree, but that's okay. That's what we're here
and
for.
actually, we're not just probably talking about the Bob Quinn era. If you go to Millenhue, we got ourselves the wide receiver. He got himself injured.
Titus Young,
as well as the other wide receiver. He didn't last on the team as well. I can't even forget his name. He was just on for a year or two.
Well, Jim, if you want to continue that pattern of not having impact players with the second round pick, then draft a running back. Because if you're not addressing the O-line, this running back, whatever you're going to get, is going to get injured, or they're not going to produce like you're expecting.
We need to go offense or in the second round, in my opinion. If we just got one or two picks, I say offensive line or defensive line for sure. Those priorities are much more important for us.
Every single year, the top running backs typically fall to late first round, early second round. So it's not like we can't get a top running back from next year's draft class, but like right now, running back isn't the biggest concern for trying to make a run.
I don't agree with that either. I would. It doesn't matter. Let's go to these questions. Let's go to Luke first. Okay. So Ramon, the New Age, asks, I don't know how to say it, Uke, or Julian Okawara in the fourth. Who would you pick?
I think Uke should be gone before the fourth, and I think Okawara could probably be gone by as early as the third. But if they both made it to the fourth, I would take Uke. Okawara, to me, I just don't see a lot of the things I would want from a player, and I don't see a guy that if Patricia gets fired and a new coach come in and decide to scrap this 3-4, he's going to transition just smoothly on over to this 4-3. I don't see that guy.
Okay. All right. That's fair. So the Duran says, what are your guys' thoughts on Mekhi Becton?
Mekhi Becton, yeah.
Mekhi Becton. Mike, what's your thoughts on him?
He's a big body. He's going to be a good tackle in this league. I think he's a monster. He's a brawler. He's a little bit raw, but I think he's going to be a top tackle in this league. And I don't have us taking them. I think that's why I say going from 3 to 5 is legit, because I think the Giants are going to take a Mekhi Becton with that fourth pick to protect their quarterback. But he's going to be a stud.
All right. I'm looking for more questions. If you guys see them, shout them out.
I see one that says DSA thoughts on Brown versus Gallimore combo.
I think he's saying both of them. He's saying we would have both of them first, second round or something.
I don't think Gallimore makes it to the second.
Yeah, I don't either.
It's going to be close.
I think this scenario is if we trade back with Miami and get their first with the 5th overall and then like the 28th or whatever.
26th, yeah, they have
or
a 6th.
potentially the 18th if they really want our pick.
I would hate that idea because where are you going to put them?
I mean, that pretty much replaces our whole inside defensive line, and then you can put Hand on the outside.
But we run a 3-4. It's a hybrid 3-4. So, and every now and then they'll do like a similar 4-3 in a way, but it's mostly 3-4. So, where do you put those two guys?
I mean, the problem with that is like it's the same thing as last year. You know, we added Mike Daniels, we had Snacks, we had Trey Flowers, we had Romeo Arquara, we had Ashawn Robinson, we had Deshaun Hand. So like, you have to build depth too. So even if we can't start them, it's nice to have depth because our guys are super injury prone.
I totally get the idea of doubling down. San Francisco did that 5 or 6 years ago, or even a little bit longer, where they took two linemen in the first round. I thought it was a great idea. But when it comes to the defensive line, another aspect you got to look at is I think their contracts would expire the exact same time. So you would have two fifth-year options at this in 4 years. So I think you would end up losing one of them because I don't think they would keep two. But, I mean, shoot. If you tell me if they doubled up on the defensive line, whether it be a tackle or a defensive end, I'm not going to complain about it. God damn, our defensive line sucks.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys, we got to move on. So Lavish Life says NFL mock draft has us trading back with the Chargers. What are you guys' thoughts? So let's go with you, Jim. Or what did you guys see this mock draft? I didn't see it. Do you guys know what the compensation was for it?
I don't know what the comp was for it. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah, I'm looking now, trying to see if I can find it. So the latest one have us going back to the Chargers.
Yeah, Chargers. Yeah, they're at 7, I think.
They don't offer enough capital.
Get in the Charger.
What?
I think Arnold Schwarzenegger was talking there for a minute. I think.
I could see a trade in that scenario. They're sitting at 6. They then would have an idea. 7 or 6.
I thought there were 7, but I don't know.
I thought it was 6. I thought they're sitting at 6. They're wanting to get a quarterback. I think we all know that, whether it's be Tua or, in my opinion, I think they want to get Herbert. So if we traded back to that pick, I think we'd pick up another. Did they got multiple first-round picks? Not 100% sure. We would probably pick up a first-round pick and maybe even a late second or an early third. Just depending on who they value. Because do you value Simmons? Do you think he's going to last there? Probably not. It just depends who you're looking at and if that person in the first round would be there. It's a risk when you keep going down each time. Because if you're trying to get a blue chipper, every spot you go down is one less spot a blue chipper will be there.
Yeah, they do have the 6.
Yeah, they're the 6th pick.
Okay, I mean, it looks like we don't know the compensation, but yeah, I mean, I think we're all definitely open to trading down, though. I think
Hands down.
Yeah, we want the most draft capital as possible.
I don't want to go down too far, though.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. So Kyrick, I'm not sure how to say your name. Apologize, but he says, is there a possibility to trade back with the Colts and taking some picks and Nelson? See, we talked about this last week. You don't think that's a possibility?
No, they're not gonna. Like, I think the trade back with the Colts is there, but I don't think they would be willing to mortgage Nelson. Nelson changed their whole. Marlon Mack got a career because of Nelson. Like, he just followed them. Like, hey, take me to the promised land. So I don't see them giving him up, knowing that it damages a whole nother part of their team. I don't. Like I said, to me, I put it out there. If the Colts ever start off any conversation, and I'm the Lions GM, it needs to start off with first and Nelson. We can talk about the rest later.
Yep.
We would never get a single pick out of the Colts. We would have to give them our picks to get Nelson. We would never get anything outside of just Nelson unless we were trading them a lot of draft capital.
According to my point system, because I did this scenario, we would get the 13th pick from Indianapolis, the 2nd pick, 34th overall, and the lineman. So you're dropping back from 3 to 13. You guaranteed yourself you're not going to get a blue chipper with that first pick.
Nelson's a blue chipper. It's fine. I think we'll be okay. Nelson is a blue chipper, man.
I would do that.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, listen. You give me a first and Nelson. I love you, Simmons, but I'm in. Hey,
that personally doesn't even make sense. You have a Pro Bowl guard, and you're willing to give him up on top of a first round to go to the 3 spot. That doesn't make sense.
They're moving up 10 picks.
They're moving up 10 spots.
But you're giving up your legit best player on your entire team.
Well, I mean, look at what other teams have given up to go up to 3. They've given up their whole franchise. The Bears gave up like 15 first-round picks or something like that.
But not a 2-time Pro Bowler when he's only been in the league for like 2 years. That doesn't even make sense.
Yeah,
I mean, the dude just started off, and he's literally the most elite guard there is. So, like, that makes no sense.
Hey, but I'm all for it. If we can do it,
take it.
Oh,
yeah, exactly.
Like they must be something. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Moving on. Ian Schaefer. He says, "Do you see Bob Quinn and Matt Patricia making moves for the short term to win now to keep their jobs, or will they operate for the long term and the greater good of the team?" What say you, Jim?
I say this could be a different answer, because if they want to keep their jobs, they may go with drafting a quarterback. I've thought about this, actually. I don't think they're going to do it, but they could go to the forwards, because I'm not sold on this mandate thing. I'm really not. To be honest with you, I'm not sold on it. So what I'm thinking is, if they would, now I don't think they will, but this was the first scenario I was going to put out there. If they went and got a quarterback and they said, okay, this is a rebuild, we're going to need another couple of years, whatever, and if they did that, would the Fords sit there and say, okay, well, you know what, we're gonna go with you on that, and we're not going to do the mandate? Because I don't think the mandate is as solid as most people think. But I think that if they feel that mandate is solid, they will do short terms to win now. If they feel like that's flexible, they will go ahead and do maybe a more long term project.
Jim, I got a question for you. I know you've talked to Dave Burkett.
Yeah.
We need to get him on here, because he was in the room with Sheila Ford and Martha Ford. And because I believe when he said that it's a win now mandate, and I would like to, at some point, if we can get him on here.
I'll try to do that. I'll email him and see what I can do.
Because this is extremely important, I think, for the Fords to really understand that if you pull this move, you take a quarterback, you just completely lied to us on this win now. This playoffs,
exactly.
It has a big FU to the fans.
I don't know. I mean, I got that feeling, though. I don't know if anybody agrees with me or not, but that's what I see.
I don't want that shiver up my leg.
I'm not messing with him, man. I'm not messing with him. This guy's crazy. Go ahead, though. Go ahead. That question that what you had to do about the Bob Quinn doing it for the job, in my opinion, I think they're going to do business as usual and do it for the long term. But I also think that they're still trying to worry about now. And so, to me, you're going to see some picks that are for the future, but you're going to see some picks that are for the now. So, good question there.
Yeah. All right. So, Blue and Silver says, would you guys sign Ndamukong Suh to a 1 or 2 year deal? Well, so wait, is he asking if we'd sign him to either a 1 or 2 year deal, or just sign him in general? Listen, I am somebody that would love to bring Suh back. I don't know if I'm in the minority here. Nope. I'm not sure.
No, you're not. But he wouldn't come back. He wouldn't come back.
Well, that's not the question, Luke. So, but go ahead, Luke. Would you sign?
No. Listen, I would absolutely sign him, but he wouldn't come back. The same like with Van Noy, they got him tied to us. He's not coming back. So yes, would I sign him? Yes, because everywhere he goes, he has impact. Miami, impact. Rams, impact. Buccaneers. He made Shaq Barrett break Warren Sapp's record. They so concerned about stopping Suh that people just running free. Yes, I would definitely bring him back if he was willing to come back.
All right. Would anyone not bring him back on here? I think we'd all bring him back, right?
I'd bring him back, yeah. If he wanted to come back.
Yeah. All right. Luke. Brad Beard says, What does that mean? I'm not. Is this an inside joke or something?
You're low-key Medea.
Oh, like
Yeah.
what?
I got that right away.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Durant
Oh,
says,
man.
"Why am I the only one that
Chilling.
thinks Brown is overrated? Kinlaw is better, in my opinion."
Wow.
Does anybody here think Brown's overrated and that Kinlaw is better?
No.
I don't think Brown. Okay, I can see why he would say Brown is overrated from some standpoints, but the reason I don't think Brown is overrated per se is because when I watch the film, I see some things that even if he was overrated, I still think he's better than Kinlaw. The film shows me that. And the Durant man, Durant, listen, you reach out to me. We can sit down, go through the film together. We can do the film together. We can make a video doing a film study on it. You can talk about why he's overrated. And we go from there. And if that happens, cool. But, well,
your guy's Gallimore, right? So why is Gallimore better than Brown, in your opinion?
You can't move him. just can't. I mean, listen. Gallimore is better than Brown because Gallimore eats up double teams like it's nobody business. Brown does too. But Gallimore uses a variety of moves to get past the blocker. And you better not ever give Gallimore one-on-one. The difference with Brown is I have some issues with how often he ends up on the ground, which is similar to Quentin Williams ending up on the ground quite often. And one thing about Gallimore that I notice is every time he got his shot with a one-on-one block, he blew it up in the biggest way. And he was so smart and aware of what was going on. I've seen Brown be good for a good first, second, maybe a third. But Gallimore, the first, the second, the third. And I think that when it comes to the power between the two, the dude has speed, he has power, and Brown has power, but he doesn't have speed. I think the IQ is higher on Gallimore than it is on Brown.
Okay. All right. That's good analysis right there, man. Okay. Next one. So Dim Sum at DSA. So all of us. All right. Would you trade for Chris Jones? How much capital would you let go of? So he was just franchise tag, if I'm correct. Let's look at what his franchise tag was. Do you guys know right off your head?
I mean, top is going to be they can't really put a number on it yet because we don't know who the top five are. So it's a top five contract average, and we don't know what that is because they're in the new CBA conversation. So some people gonna get some new contracts, and at that point, it would be higher. So if I'm a guessing man,
it's gonna be at least 16 million, right?
It's gonna be higher.
It's probably around 20.
It's gonna probably be about it's gonna be higher. So
man, I don't know what I would let go of a low pick. I wouldn't give up anything crazy because it's just a 1 year rental at that point.
Well, it would be a trade and sign. You wouldn't trade for him unless he's gonna sign. Otherwise, you would have another Rob Gronkowski incident where he's threatening to retire if he's traded. So you don't want to have that. He wants to make sure he's paid and compensated. And if that compensation is something ridiculous, then you don't trade for him.
All right, what would you guys give up for him?
I wouldn't give up anything. There's no way I'm taking someone on the. I personally, if you look at the teams that franchise tag players, name me the last team that was very successful when they franchise tagged a player of that high of a salary cap hit.
Right.
That's not that high. We're paying Trey Flowers more. We're paying Trey Flowers more than that. I'm
just saying, man. When you franchise tag a player, that team is never successful because they're giving so much money to one person in that year that they can't do crap with their team.
So then you're saying that we're going to be screwed for the next 3 or 4 years because we're going to be paying 16 or more to Trey Flowers this year, and then it's jumping up to 20 million next year, and even more the next year after that. So you're saying that's pretty much franchise tagging him.
I'm basing it off what our team is right now. If we were to grab Chris Jones, it would be a huge mistake.
Okay. I mean, right. I mean, to me, I'm picking up what he's putting down. If you're telling me they franchise tag him and then we trade for him, I see what he's saying because unless we can trade for him and get him a contract that gets him away from that franchise tag, the trade is a dangerous game because you're talking about eating up most of your cap. But if he's a free agent, you might have a little bit more leverage to play with it. And one thing about Bob Quinn, is he's finding clever ways to create contracts that are cap friendly.
What? Hold on. Listen, Chris Jones was every Lions fan's free agent dream, right?
Yes.
Almost every single one. You guys understand that he would have been paid $16 million a year or more, right?
Okay.
On average.
The money doesn't scare me. It's giving up a
Yeah.
first-round pick. And
I'm sorry?
I said the money
compensation.
doesn't scare me. It's more or less giving up a first-round pick. And I'm not wanting to do that when I get younger and cheaper in the first round. And I think it's going to cost a big pick to pull him away from KC.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'd give a third or less. I would
third?
I don't even know if I'd give a third, but I'm not sure.
Wait a minute. You think he gonna get moved for a third after getting the franchise tag, and they gonna eat that cost? No. So listen, that when you get franchise tag, every penny of that is guaranteed. That's why they try to get him money for contract to move that money around so they can have that wiggle room. If he refuses to, like
no. That's what we're saying though. You just said it would be a sign and trade, so we would get him and sign him for about $16 million a year.
But
right?
he went. But the problem now you got to look at is this: why would Kansas City franchise tag him, knowing that that's going to be a hit on their part, and then take a third round pick for him?
Okay, maybe I'm confusing. Would they still eat the franchise tag if he signs a deal?
Yes, because they're trading him, so they still take a cap hit.
Oh, okay. I did not know that. All right.
Yeah, they still take the cap hit. We would just have to do a sign and trade because we want to make sure he's under contract for our cap to be friendly. That money that they franchise tag him with is guaranteed. They take so if it ends up being like when we franchise tag Ziggy Ansah, we wanted to trade him, but we were trying to get somebody to take the cap as well. And people was like, no. So because if you get the other team to accept the cap hit, they'll do it. But why would the Lions accept taking off 16 or 18 million off their cap?
Well, let's listen to. I got a question for Jim when it comes to the cap. Now, Pat McAfee made a trade today that the Lions will trade Matthew Stafford to the Raiders, and the Raiders will trade Derek Carr to the Lions. What do you think about that?
I'll stop being a Lions fan. I will stop being a Lions fan.
What? You just made that up.
No, I
Yeah.
I did not make that up. I swear to God.
There's no way I would do that. If that's what you're asking, what are you
ridiculous.
asking me?
I'm asking you. Wouldn't that be a good idea? I mean, it was definitely.
Oh yeah, that's amazing. No, dude, no way.
All right. Moving on. All right. Blue and Silver says if they do draft Chase Young, they would they have to change to a full-time 4-3? Hand and Flowers in the middle, and Okwara and Young on the ends. Thoughts?
Not necessarily. I mean, they do somewhat of a hybrid scheme. I think they would implement more 4-3 in there, but they would do 3-4 as well because look, Chase Young's he is a 4-3 defensive end, but he's also a special player, a dynamic player. I think you can put him on in a 3-4 and he'll still get great production. I just think he's a little bit better in the 4-3 to get all his value. To get all his value, you want to put him in a 4-3. But I think, man, he still could definitely do some damage in a 3-4.
I think in a 3-4, he's basically taking on Trey Flowers' role. Mm-hmm. I don't like Chase Young in a 2-point. I'm just gonna put it out there, people. I don't like Chase Young in a 2-point. I feel like he's gonna be out of position at that spot because at some point if you just rushing him from that 2-point stance like a linebacker, and I'm the offensive coordinator, I'm just going bing, 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 bing with the tight end all the way down the field because he can't cover. So he's there just to rush. I'll run at him and I'll just use the tight end over there every time, chip him and throw the ball to the tight end. I would not use him in the 3-4 if it was me.
All right. Dolo Dynamite says, thoughts on Walker-Winfield duo?
Walker Listen, people. Dolo, I got a video. I'm gonna finish the editing today. I'll post it probably tomorrow. Yeah, wait till you see this. Wait till you see this video. That's all I'm gonna tell you. If y'all don't know about Winfield, Lord Jesus, that man right there, he got bad intentions.
What round's he going?
I think he probably go late first, early second.
So if you think we missed out on Simmons, we're taking him, or we'd want him?
I would. If I have it my way, it's Simmons 1, Winfield 2. If I have it my way, because now I shore up the middle of my field. I got a wild card player. You don't know if he's a safety at that point. You don't know if he's a linebacker at that point. You can guess that he's a linebacker until you realize he just took off and ran over there towards the main receiver in a double team, or he don't took off and dropped deep into coverage. You're like, oh snap, he's safety. Yeah, see, it's too much. You can see. You know what? My brain started. I'm like Rain. I'm like You remember Evan from The Hangover when he went to win the money back for them and he saw all the numbers? I'm like him right now. I've got too many things going when I hear Isaiah Simmons.
All right, well, guys, subscribe to Luke G because that video is going to drop soon if you want to hear that. All right, Funky Nuts. He commented on the trade we were talking about earlier. So trading back to the Chargers, and they would give us just 1 second round pick. I don't know if I'd pick that. I think I'd just want to pick Simmons at 3.
That would be such a trash trade. You're dropping so many spots, and then you're getting a second round pick. The Miami Dolphins, all in those mock trades, were offering 2 firsts, and their first was way better than the Chargers, and then their second pick would be at least 10 spots higher than the Chargers.
If you look at what the Jets did when they drafted their franchise quarterback, I think they went from 6 to 3, and it was 3 second-round picks they received.
Well, Dwayne Hogan contradicts Funky Nuts, and he says, no, it would be a first next year. That would be a little more interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So wait, he said that we'll get the first this year and the first next year, or we just going to take a first next year?
No, like we would trade back to whatever the Chargers have. So we get their first.
6.
Yeah, and then we'd get their first next year.
Oh, yeah, I'll take that. Anything with the keyword first next year, I'm taking. 2 firsts for a new head coach to come in and play with. Yes, that's how confident I am of
new
one
head coach. I caught that.
Right.
Yeah, see, Jim, you awake. Stay with me now. Stay with me.
Yeah, those are fighting words, man. All right, so Don says, I think we should take a chance on Jalen Hurts in the later rounds. What are your thoughts?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
I mean, depending how late, the max I would give is a 5th round, and I don't think he'll fall that far. But if he does, I would love to see a dual threat quarterback be on our roster. I mean, he'd be a backup, but I would love to see something like that because all of our backups suck. And at least Jalen Hurts has proven himself in the college game.
Boo, no.
Listen. Andrew, all day I've been in love with you. But my heart can only take so much. And this is when a breakup happens. I'm with real on this. No. Listen,
you told me you wouldn't take him for a 5th round pick?
Hell no.
No. No. Listen.
Why? So you want a really good
what did you see?
Is that what you're looking for?
What did you see out of him? For real? Because he can run? So what?
The guy is a good dual threat quarterback.
Okay.
For a 5th round pick. A 5th.
Do you think he's the future? Hey man, what did Lamar Jackson? What did they say about him during the draft process? He was almost a Heisman candidate, dude. No man, dude. Listen, Lamar Jackson is a beast. He was a beast in college.
And Lamar Jackson can actually throw the ball. He has accuracy.
Whoa. When he was coming out of college, the dude had mad accuracy problems. That was a big reason.
No.
That is exactly why they said he should change because he can't throw the ball accurately, consistently.
No. The problem that he had was he had that really good year. The next year before he came out of college, they had a down year because he wasn't running as much because he was trying to pull the Michael Jordan and you say I can't, I'm gonna show you I can, and he was sitting in the pocket throwing it. So when he wasn't doing that, they started saying, oh, he wasn't doing this. And then guess what? He comes in here they literally give him a chance to play. But what they do most importantly is they adjusted the team around his skill set. And to me, if you bring in Jalen Hurts, you think we're going to adjust the team around his skill set? No. We've had mobile quarterbacks. I mean, go through the years. You see them all, Charlie Batches, Andre Ware. We've had them. You name them, we've had them. It don't work here. You have to have a person with a mind that's brilliant enough to work with that. Who's the person you think is going to work with Jalen Hurts?
Hey, man, look what Bevel did last year.
He's actually comparable to Taysom Hill. So I think you could use him in many different roles. I think he's going to get actually drafted in the second round. That's what they're projecting him now. If he fell to the fifth, you would have to have packages where he can be almost like a young Jamal Agnew, where he's getting put everywhere. If that's what you're going to do. But if you're just strictly making him a quarterback, I think it's somewhat of a waste. But if you're going to use him as an offensive weapon for a fifth-round pick, I'd consider it. But he could be gone earlier than that.
We call 5 trick plays a year. I'm not taking that guy for 5 trick plays a year. I'm not doing it. I'm sorry.
Listen, we have too many holes on our team to waste any capital, okay, on a backup quarterback. Okay, besides like a veteran minimum contract, like we are paying Blau and Driscoll and whatever, we have no time to be messing around with backup quarterbacks. If Stafford, if you're not getting the guy that's going to be the future or is going to be Stafford's replacement, there is no point in wasting capital, in my opinion. Anyway, listen, Kool-Aid and Cornbread says, if no one offers a good trade, would you ever pick Tua and try to trade him for post pick?
Okay, so listen. This was a topic that was brought up on 97.1 The Ticket by Carson Anderson, and they were basically essentially saying that one of them was saying that they would and risk it, or they had to take a garbage trade to get something. Here's my problem with this idea, people. What if you do take Tua in an attempt to trade him later, but nobody wants him now because he's been a Lion? What if that happens?
Right.
You know, or better yet, scratch that. Let's say you do take him. Could you imagine what would happen while we waiting for a trade and Stafford throw the first interception? Tua. No.
Look, I think the biggest problem with this scenario is that if nobody wanted him enough to make a good enough offer during the draft, what do you think is going to happen post-draft? You know, you're not going to get anything more than what you already missed out on. So it's,
what are you going to trade for Isaiah Simmons on? Like, no.
Yeah, like it's not going to happen. So that would be an awful scenario.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. But it came up on 97.1 The Ticket, and I happened to be channel surfing when I stopped and heard him say that, and I said, wait a minute, what did he say? And he said, yeah, I would take him. And I was like, what is wrong with these people? Like, you think somebody in the draft is going to be like, so you took Tua, let me get him from you. No.
And you know what really pisses me off about the whole Tua should go top 3 thing is the dude has 2 of the best wide receivers in all of this entire draft. So, like, he's throwing to phenomenal athletes. It's not like he's throwing to bad players and, you know, he's just hitting them, you know, in stride and everything.
The biggest competition.
He's throwing to 2 of the best wide receivers in the draft. One almost broke the 40-yard dash, and the other is a freak athlete. It's like Johnny Manziel. Yeah, he won a Heisman. He had Mike freaking Evans. Like, nah, dude. Like, and he's a lefty. Oh, God. Tua is not going to be a good quarterback in the league, and you can mark my words on that.
Listen, don't worry about it. I see Blue and Silver says I would definitely take Tua. He's the next Russell Wilson. Go and watch Russell Wilson college film and show me where you see the next Russell Wilson next year. No, seriously. When Russell Wilson came out, now mind you, I am a Seahawks fan, people. I am also a Lions fan. I'm also a Bucks fan. When the Hawks took Russell Wilson, I already was ecstatic. I remember watching those games with him. You don't see that from Tua. Russell Wilson? No, we're not gonna. No, I'm not gonna allow that one. Blue and Silver, I love you, but we can't just say stuff like that. It's not fair.
Yeah. All right. Dwayne Hogan says, if the Lions have a bad season, should they fire everybody?
Yes.
Luke.
right. Thank you, Mike. Right. Ask Mike again. Mike gonna answer for every one of us. Mike.
Yes.
Including
everybody. Everybody.
Gone.
Oh.
Oh yeah, Miss Firestone Ford. We have another crap season like this. Everybody's gone, and guess what, folks? We'll be in rebuild mode, and that would be
Listen.
fine with me.
What about
because
Bob Quinn? You think Bob Quinn's gone too?
Everybody, listen.
Everybody will be gone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they got all of
As soon as the season ends, you should hear Eminem's cleaning out my closet playing in the background. You know how they first come in? That boom, 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 boom. That should be the first thing you hear because we should be cleaning out our closet. This whole thing got to go. If it smells like poop, look like poop, it's poop. And at the end of the day, if they have another bad season, I'm tired of taking the poop. All of them got to go. Flush them down the toilet. Whoever keeps poop in their toilet, no one. Flush them. They got to go. Just saying.
What do you think, Jim?
All right.
Oh, they got to go. All of them got to go. I think they should have. Honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think they should have made it to this year.
Oh my
That's the way I
gosh.
That's the way I feel.
Listen, guys, I'm with Patricia going. I will lose faith if this year is not the year. But Bob Quinn, I don't know, man. I don't know. That'd be tough.
I ain't mad at you.
Okay. If we have a bad season and they sign Dion Lewis,
Okay, all right. Fire Bob Quinn.
No.
Fire Bob Quinn.
Everybody's gone.
Yeah, all right. Hollywood Booner. All right, so
Hollywood Boner. or Bonner.
All right. Yeah. Sorry for All right. Anyway, are you guys sold on? We talked about this enough, man. We talked about this enough. They're
About
not.
Bo and Kerry John?
Yeah. They want to draft a running back. I'm not. All right. So
Yeah,
Luke, you got to do
I'm
film
not.
review on Gallimore and Antoine Winfield. All right.
Yes,
You're
I have
doing
those.
right?
Yes, those are coming. Those are coming, and I'm gonna make sure that it's gonna be fun and entertaining. And so Ghost Gunner, I might just add. You know what? I kind of already did it, but I already do it. If Ghost Gunner want to get on there with me, you want to get on there with me, Ghost? Let me know. Hit me up on Discord. We'll get it together.
All right. D. Williams says, Roundtable, do you think the players will approve the CBA? Good question.
I think half of them are going to look at it and be in confusion. So I think the 60%, if we had to do it, break it down from a full 100, I think 60%, because you're going to get a few people who are not sure, but their friends going to tell them it's good, and they're going to go good. I think 60% will say yes. The 40% will say no.
yes, they will pass it because the lower pay scale for the folks barely making the 53 would be $100,000 more each year. I read that today. So you're going to see a lot of the people that are not main stars be voting yes because they get a much bigger pay raise. If not,
Yeah, but the biggest hurdle in there is the extra games. That's what's got people mad.
Yeah,
They
I
don't-
don't think
they
they're
don't
going to approve it.
Yeah, they don't want the extra games. That's the biggest hurdle. The extra games, and their argument for the extra games is to give the low tier people that extra money. Because guess what? We're trying to swing those votes for that extra game. The people who are starters is like, who want to play an extra game? See, my fear is if they do approve it, are we gonna start to see stuff that we see in the NBA where players aren't playing that game because they trying to like save their body?
100%.
Whoa.
That is exactly what's going
Whoa.
to happen.
It's a good point.
I
Or
think
they're
if it
going to
gets-
get put on IR like it happened to our entire team.
Right, for no reason, because they got a few more games anyway.
you can have the all
There's still
IR
too
team.
There's still too few games. You can't just blow games. Aaron Rodgers is not going to sit out if they're still in contention or they're still trying to get the number 1 seed. Like I feel like it's going to be the same thing. Like maybe the last game of the year, if they're already a lock, then they already do that. So I mean, if that's what you're saying, yeah, I think they're
It's
going to
not
keep doing
those
that.
teams real. It's the teams that were in our scenario where it was over 5-7 games before the season.
That's
was
already
over.
happening. I don't see how that would happen more.
It's just not going to be pretty when you have an extra game to the season, and there's a lot more teams that are just like, well, I'm definitely out of the playoff race. Let's all kind of go sit on the bench. It's gonna take a huge hit to ratings. That's all I don't know.
I'm not feeling that. I think that players are going to be competitive because they want to win. But all right, Micro Mike says, Real Detroit Lions fans, should we riot if the Lions sign Dion Lewis?
That's a yes.
Yes. We'll be marching the streets of Woodward.
He's crazy.
Hey, Luke, are you
Yes,
gonna
sir.
do one on Dion Lewis?
You know what? I thought about it.
Oh my god.
That will
I
be
thought
a
about it.
downvoted video.
I thought about it, but then I said to myself, I don't want to break my computer with this trash. 209 is not even worth it. My computer costs more than what he ran for, so I'm okay. I'm okay.
Okay.
It's terrible.
Just
Got me up there. I see what you did there, though. I see you, Jim. Jim tried to get me boiled up. I'm not gonna do it.
Jim fits right in here, man.
All right. Thoughts on the Dern says thoughts on Tyrell Johnson, wide receiver from Minnesota.
I like him, but I'm not looking at him until third to fourth round. I'm not concerned with receiver that bad at this point.
All right. Dolo Dynamite says thoughts on signing Mariota as our backup. No.
Hey,
No.
This is
There's
something
a
we
laugh.
haven't told you, but me and Luke did a bet. I said my fear is they're gonna pay a little bit more for a backup, and I said watch for Marcus Mariota. So this is a little inside bet here that
And I'm gonna win that bet too, because I promise you he's not making it to this roster. No, he's not.
we're gonna sign a veteran, in which I don't want to spend money on a veteran, but I think they're gonna do it via pressure, and it's gonna hurt our ability to sign people that are actually gonna play on the roster.
I actually like David Blau. I don't know why everybody is like, oh, I'm like, he played well enough for us to win games. We just didn't have the other parts when you putting the running back on snap counts. So, and the defense was like, couldn't stop a nosebleed. So it's just, I like David Blau.
Luke, how many years do you sign Tavon Wilson to?
Oh, I answered that in the chat, but I'm gonna give you the answer. 0, none, -0, nada. Can I buy a vial? Cause I will buy a vial before I buy Tavon Wilson. No. No. I mean, this dude is average at best, and the average is a stretch. I said this last year that he was a leech because he's that guy on the team that you don't even know he's on there until he make a play. And you go, oh shoot, we got Tavon Wilson. Oh, he's here, huh? Like he's an afterthought. No years.
Yeah, I wanted to get your opinion on that. I know you had some passionate words. All right, guys. It's been almost 2 hours now. Thank you all for joining today. We're gonna each say our last words for the show today. So let's start off with you, Jim. What do you got to say to the people?
I want to say thank you for listening. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channels here. And also, you know what? We've been suffering for a long time, so just one more year.
That hurt my heart, man.
Come on, man. Enough of that pessimism, man.
It's just one more year.
Oh, I don't like that. Andrew, what do you got to say to the people?
Man, I just want to say you guys are blowing up the chat. I'm constantly reading these things while we're talking and, taking into consideration. And I love, your guys' opinions, just being able to have different views and what, a lot of fans and just people in general think about what we should be doing or, just anything. I love it. Keep it up. And I thought we had a great discussion. I cannot wait for this draft to come and see what we finally do and to see if our head coach and GM are idiots or if they finally, show us some love and show us, that we're going down the right road.
Yes, sir. All right. Micro Mike, what do you got to say to the people in the chat?
Man, I want to say rest in peace to Mr. I. It does seem like he passed away. We talked to him. He was starting his YouTube, liking what he was doing, and unfortunately, he's no longer with us, and that's terrible. We love talking to him on over the Detroit Lions, and may he rest in peace and find a good time up in the sky. And terrible. It's just terrible news. And Man, rest in peace and prayers to his family. I know they don't hear it, but I'm going to say it anyways. Folks, we're 10 days away from legal tampering, and all these stupid what-if scenarios is near over. We're going to find out what takes place in free agency here real soon. It's going to be great. I will be doing a live stream for free agency frenzy. All DSA members are welcome. I know a lot of us do not work or work different shifts, but it will be on my channel at 3 p.m. Eastern time. I can't wait to see who we get. Damn it, I'm ready. I'm ready to see what the Lions are gonna do, man. With that said, if you ain't subscribed to Lions on the Prowl, you must do so. New YouTuber, but he's not new to the game. He just had 7,000 downloads on his show on Spotify. Awesome. If you ain't subscribed to the real Detroit Lions fans, you have to, man. You have to. We're going to have roundtables on here. They're bringing fantastic content. We're going in the right direction. Without you, this movement has gone nowhere. Just think, 1 year ago, we were averaging 50 at best on a Luke G's channel. Now we're averaging 90. Awesome. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Luke, I'm gonna let you go last because I like when you say your last words of the day. But man, I am unfamiliar with Mr. I. But like I said before, man, anytime you hear about this kind of stuff, like this is real news, and it just makes what we're talking about kind of just silly. But just rest in peace. Prayers to him and his family. Hopefully he's in a better place right now. But with that said, I want to say, humbling thank you to everybody in the chat right now. Yeah, we had over 70 at one point. This was me and Andrew's dream when we started doing this. We wanted to create a community of passionate Lions fans to have passionate conversations, and that's what we strive to do, and that's what we do it for. So it's awesome to have all you guys in the chat. If you like what we're doing here, please subscribe to us, the Real Detroit Lions fans, and also please subscribe to everybody in the DSA because, we rotate where we do the roundtable. So with that being said, thank you all, and go ahead, Luke.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, before we go any farther, I have been blowing up Mr. Eyes, and I have not got a response. And I'm very sad by this. Although I've never met many of you in person, I still do love you. And I know it sounds crazy. How can you love somebody you never met? How can you have any type of emotion for a person you never come across? It's because we all share the same common thing. We all got to breathe the same air. The same blood runs through us. And at the end of the day, it took something as simple as football to create small connections that can go a long way. So today's positive inspirational quote that I'm going to give you comes from Bruce Lee. But before I give you that, I just want to do a brief moment of silence for Mr. I. Appreciate that. Here's a quote from Bruce Lee today. He says, "Love is like a friendship caught on fire. In the beginning, a flame, very pretty, often hot and furious, but still lights and flickers. As love grows older, your heart matures and your love becomes a cold, deep, burning, and unquenchable." What Bruce Lee was doing was trying to explain to us that when you love something or you love someone or you have a passion for something, that there is no way possible that passion can ever die because it's truly in you. It burns repeatedly. This team doesn't win all the time, but we're still here. 50, 60, 70, 100 people showing up to hear about this team from this group of men who all work different schedules and have different lives. What that tells me is in the end, all that would mean nothing if we just don't respect each other. If we just don't take a moment to understand that at the end, we're all humans. And today we lost a very good fan and friend and Mr. I. So prayers up to him and his family. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, don't be no chump. Love one another.